you know, living this intentional life and trying to be conscious of where we're at and slowing down is so much easier said than done. And it's easier to talk about it with people than it is to actually apply it, especially in moments that are hard, on days where you are just not feeling it, when just everything seems to be going wrong. And I mean, honestly, the hardest part is like when you are having one of those intense days and feeling really emotional and you can't even remember the moments when you're like, these are my intentions for the day and this is how I want to do things. So I want to talk about some things that I do right now currently that really help me maintain as much as I can, or kind of check myself when I need to, and just stay as connected as I can. And I want to mention that like a lot of this is seasonal. What I need right now is different than what I needed maybe 6 months ago or 6 months from now. And so just kind of remembering that. And I think that's also why it's so important to kind of hear what people are sharing and what they're doing, because you could start to feel a little bit kind of complacent where you're at. And, you know, hearing someone else talk about what they're doing is just that little reminder, or like a, you know, little tap from the universe of what could really be exactly what you need. That seems so obvious and we just don't think about it always. So my intention with this is to just share what has been working for me right now. And my name is Amy. If you are new here, welcome. If you have been here before, welcome back. My whole reason for creating this video and all of my videos is to share and to create a space for people like you and like me who are just, you know, working on being more intentional and more connected to themselves and the world around them, when it can be really hard to do that. And personally, I have struggled with a lot of different things, including, you know, a lot of anxiety, depression, all sorts of things like that. And so when I'm feeling good, I just want to share what I've been doing that has helped me feel good, because I feel like all of us can use that every once in a while. And so I just want you to know that I see you, I feel you, and I hope that this gives you just a little something, one little seed planted to add to maybe when you need a little pick-me-up, something you can remember. So I am going to give you my list of about 8 things that I do every single day, mostly, that really just help me stay present and stay grounded and kind of keep anxiety at bay, or help me move through it if it creeps up on me, and just helps me really slow down and be more intentional. So the first thing I do every day when I wake up now is I consciously check in with myself. I see how I'm feeling, and if I'm really like in a funky place, I try to just have some grace and start thinking of things that I can be grateful for, and just really be aware of, okay, you know, I just woke up, I just started the day, I'm feeling off. I don't need that to dictate though where this day is going. And so when I really think about gratitude and think about something to look forward to within my day, and this could be just like my coffee, I just really try to, you know, connect in that way, and also not beat myself up about how I'm feeling, because that can get us really caught up. The second thing that I do is, well, it's kind of 2 parts. I have this intention that I wrote down for myself, and it's a little bit about what's current and also what I'm working toward. And I read it every morning and actually every night. And it's just really helping me kind of remember my why and stay focused on some goals that I've set for myself. And with that, I have been doing a meditation every morning. I'm doing the same one. It's helping with visualizing, setting intentions for both short and long term. And that has really, really helped, I feel, because that also, if I wake up a little bit in a funk, that is just kind of reminding me of what is most important to me, what just like kind of getting back to myself, and remembering to be present versus getting caught up in silly, mundane things that are just, like something with work, let's say, that I don't need to get caught up in that. I'm still just in this moment, having my coffee, going to have, do my meditation, and that's all I need to focus on. And so that meditation helps me do that in that moment, but also really helps me set the tone for the day. And I love using Insight Timer because, especially in the morning, I need a guided meditation personally, and you can use it for free. They have guided meditations, they have meditations with sound or music, and also just bells to stop you at certain times. So if you are looking for a good app to use, that one is my favorite. It is free, and you can also donate to the people, all of the teachers who create the meditations. And I believe there is a Premier membership as well. The next thing that I do is, if I am able to, while I'm going about my day, whether this is working or doing something else, I will either allow myself to enjoy just being peaceful and quiet, or I will listen to an audiobook that is uplifting, and not, just any book, but really intentional with, I have a long list of books that I love. I'd say they're more like kind of spiritual based and just uplifting, just positive. Those really help me. And they especially help me if I'm doing a task for work, let's say, and it is maybe making me feel a little bit discouraged that I'm not where I want to be with my work, perhaps. When I listen to something like that makes me feel better, not only does it make me feel better, but it again helps me get present with the moment and remember that, everything is temporary, and that what I'm doing is helping me with everything I'm looking forward to in the future. The next thing I do is every single day when I either clock out from working from home or I get home, I go outside and play with my dog, my best friend, I should say. And it's actually very cute because I swear he has some internal clock, and he will be sitting right outside the door with his ball waiting for me, knowing it's time for us to go and play. He gets a walk in the morning usually, so in the evening we try to play outside and throw the ball, and I try to be really conscious with that time. And although once in a while I might be on the phone, I try to just be present with him, and like we listen to the birds together and we watch the squirrels together and things like that. Pets and kids give us that opportunity to really be present and slow down, and personally I need that. So I love that time, and if for some reason the weather is not allowing for that, I make sure that he and I do something together. And I swear, if you're a big animal lover, you know how important that time is and how good that bonding feels. And it actually adds to all of the good feeling, hormones and things within you when you are bonding with your pet. So that's another really good one. I also, most nights, will either go for a run, go for a walk, or do yoga. And I used to teach yoga. I love it. But ironically, since COVID hit, I have just started practicing at home. And so I mostly practice at home. But I have my teachers that I love here. And it's really nice to be the student on the mat for me. But if you have never practiced yoga, or if you were doing it and kind of forgot, oh my gosh, it's like probably my top 3 favorite self-care rituals that I have. And I can't say enough good things about it. It does not matter how flexible you are, anything like that. It is just about getting on the mat. It's about showing up for yourself. And it helps with every part of you, body, mind, and soul. And it can be one of the most grounding things for me, and just hugely important. And I love that I can do it anywhere. And then I've been running for a really long time, and listen, I don't run very fast and I don't run very far. I just have a rule that I run at least 30 minutes. That's what I've been doing now for over 20 years, I think. And you know what? For me, it's about the consistency, and it's about showing up. And that is what ultimately matters. But for me, I actually don't listen to music when I run anymore. I know some people probably think they could never do it, and I felt that way once. But oh my gosh, that is when I get the most, I call them like downloads, when I get these great creative ideas or ways that I just kind of process something that feels like a problem. And I love that time. And I always try to end my run so that I can walk a few blocks still and just kind of enjoy. And now I'm like talking myself into this, I'm gonna have to run today. But I love it. It's so good for me. If you are totally not into running or can't for some reason, I would recommend walking, and during that time, either listening to an uplifting book or podcast, or even trying to listen to nothing. And maybe you just do like 5 minutes of that. But I believe that there's so much that we gain by just kind of being one with nature. A few other things that I do. Every single night I take a shower. I started doing this years ago, partly because I generally work out in the evenings and so naturally want to take a shower, but this has turned into my favorite ritual. I cannot go to bed without showering. I like getting into bed clean. I like my sheets being clean because of that. There is something so relaxing for me. I have a special body lotion that I use in the evening, and it just, the whole process of it helps me really calm down and slow down and prepare myself for sleep. I should note that like I was somebody who could not sleep without a TV on. I had to watch something. There were just so many things that I did that now I'm like, oh my gosh, no wonder I had more anxiety or couldn't sleep well. And if this works for you, that's awesome. But for me, I felt like it was just not the energy I wanted to be putting into my brain before I was going to bed. And also it just like, the shower just really helps me to relax and kind of get into this, like kind of shift from my day into my evening. And that is also when I incorporate something else that I do every night. And recently I have set an intention for being a little bit more specific about this. So I always journal, and this doesn't have to be, pages of journaling. Right now, my one rule is that it's journaling in the evening, and then not rule, but just like my intention of how I want to hold myself accountable for this. So it's just that I am pulling out that journal and writing something, but it right now always includes a gratitude list. And I believe gratitude is so powerful and so important, even if when you're doing it, you're like, I don't feel any different. I don't understand why people are always talking about this, but that really, really helps me. And I believe that that's one of those things that adds these little micro shifts to you that you can't really see or tell at first, but really go a long way with time, with just committing to it. And then the last thing that I do every single day is I cannot go to sleep without reading something. And I do use a Kindle, so I guess technically it's a screen, but for me, it works because I can have the lights out and I can kind of just like turn it off and go right to sleep after. But I also am reading a book every night that is some kind of book that is more of a feel good, feel connected, stuff that's going to put into my mind and subconscious ideas that are uplifting and will give me happy dreams and help me set good intentions. I've noticed that when I used to read different topics, or like I said, watch, shows, I just felt like it was way too overstimulating for me. So I always read, I also will read a regular book sometimes, and I have my little nightlight, but that helps me so much. So my evening ritual has become so important. And I know that for some people, like some of this isn't realistic, depending on if you have children and what their ages are and, what your home life looks like, things like that. But even if you could start adding just a few of these things, I believe that these rituals help us they kind of like signal to us, this shower means it's time to slow down. The smell of this lotion is a reminder to me that this is incorporated with going to bed and relaxing and starting to sleep. And journaling is a part of just like looking back on the day and finding gratitude for what happened and what's ahead. And I forgot to mention that when I journal, I also read that intention statement that I've created. And I like to just kind of start with the day with that, and also end the day with that, to, again, just like getting present with myself and checking in and being able to say like, okay, how did I do today? And some days I'm like, I didn't think about it at all, and that's okay. But if I wasn't reading it ever, I probably would just forget about it. So at least by reading it 2 times a day, it really helps me to just kind of remember and connect. And yeah, I mean, these things have they've helped me. They have taken time to be added to my daily routine, but I've worked pretty hard to be able to add time for these things and not do other things. I don't watch TV every night. I don't even really watch it in the evenings anymore. And that's another thing that took time to kind of get out of my daily routine. But I feel so much better by doing things like this. And ultimately and thankfully, that matters more to me now. And so I'm able to consciously make choices like that, to do things like this instead. So I hope that these gave you ideas or reminders or just confirmations that what you're doing, if it's feeling good to you, to just keep doing it and making time for that for yourself, and setting these intentions and, you know, these forms of self-care and self-love. And I would love to hear what you do, how you kind of connect with yourself throughout the day to help remind yourself of just being present and remembering what your intentions are. And yeah, so share with me what you think, and leave any questions or comments. And if you got anything out of this or want a reminder for my next video, please consider subscribing, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.